Hey everyone, Anthony Scott here at ToyHypeUSA.com. Today I am reviewing Hasbro's newly released Transformers Generation 40th Anniversary Comic Edition Autobot Flame and Emirate Xaaron figures, which are offered as this exclusive 2-pack. Special shout out and thank you to site sponsor Entertainment Earth for sending the set along for review. It's greatly appreciated. Please use our links for all 10% off in-stock items and free USA shipping on orders $79 plus. Hasbro is offering the special set to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Transformers comic book series of the 1980s that many of us grew up reading. Both figures are making their action figure debut in this box set, which includes Autobot Flame and Emirate Xaaron. The cover of the box is from the Marvel Comics Transformers issue number 168 with original artwork by Jerry Parris, legendary artist. This is truly stellar artwork, and I'm loving the hand reaching out and grabbing several Transformers. I think that's fantastic artwork. You also see the Action Force logo right under the Transformers. Action Force was the UK version of G.I. Joe, interestingly enough. There's also the 40th anniversary logo right there. Their names right next to that as well. On the other side, you have more additional artwork, supposedly from a different comic book artist. On the other side are comic book panels. Here is a closer look at that, giving you guys a look there. And on the back are images of both figures, as well as some comic book art. On the top here, you have more great comic book artwork. This packaging is also an opening flap, and on the outer cover here, you have more artwork and a description, and on the right the figures are packaged in this windowless box here, so there's no plastic packaging whatsoever. Here is a closer look if you guys want to read that, and here is the other one. So I'm going to take these out of packaging now, and let's take a closer look. Before I continue to move on to the figures, let's take a look at the instructions. It starts off with images of both Autobot Flame and Emirate Xaaron, and you have instructions of where the accessories go for Xaaron. And here is a breakdown of all the steps from robot to vehicle mode for Xaaron. And on the other side is for Flame. And there is the vehicle mode. Here is your in-hand look at Flame. I want to say I think he is a stellar figure. I'm loving the Flame deco on the chest there with the Autobot logo. I think they did a really nice job with it. The sculpt and the deco, this looks great. I think they really nailed the character likeness. Unfortunately, I never read the original comic series from the 80s, so I had to look up these two characters. But I think as characters go, they definitely did a great job with the selection. As you can see, he comes in multiple colors, including red, orange, and yellow being most of it, as well as gray. The head sculpt looks equally as great. I think they did a really nice job with it. The faceplate is metallic silver, and he has red eyes. The helmet is also the same colors as I mentioned, red, orange, and yellow, with the yellow being right there on top. There's a closer look there. When you first look at him, you think Flame is an all-new tool. That, however, is not true, even though they did a really good job covering up the reused parts. He is a retool of the War for Cybertron video game Megatron figure, which was recently released in the Studio Series line, and he is given a new head, chest, and I believe possibly new thighs and forearms. In the comic, he also had red hands. However, on this figure, they left it gray, which I find a little bit disappointing, but that is the only complaint I have about this figure. For his articulation, it's going to be standard for the Generations line, which includes a ball-jointed head, swivel hinge shoulders, swivel biceps, hinged elbows. No articulation really in the wrist there. Swivel waist, swivel hinged hips, hinged knees, and hinged ankles. So he's got a good range of articulation there. Flame includes a cannon, which can be stored on his back and on his right forearm. Here, I stored it on the back, and you can see it better from back here. There is a black line on both sides, which you guys can see, and it's also painted in the orange, red, and yellow deco. Here is a look at the cannon on the forearm. It just plugs in, which you guys can see here. Stays in there pretty well. Here is another pose. He can also hold this cannon in his hands, and here's a look with the right hand. Here is a look at it in the left hand. First impression of Emirate Xaaron, I think they did another great job with this character as well. The figure is truly stellar. He is inspired from the UK comic, and that is why he is given the dark and light gold, as well as some silver, a little bit of light gray as well. When he was brought over to the US, he was completely gold, so they basically repainted him in the comic just to make it a little different compared to the UK. He is a repaint from the War for Cybertron Siege Reflector figure that Hasbro released years ago, and it's definitely a clever reuse because you really can't tell that there's any reused parts here, at least not right away until you do a little research. So it's really a clever thing to basically reuse those parts. Here is a look at all sides, and again, I think they did a really nice job on this figure. There are ports on both sides to plug in accessories, and on the back he has all these gaps here. It's really not too eye appealing, but you're really not going to look at figures from the back too much, so I don't think it matters too much. Going back to the original comic book in the UK, the character was drawn, looks like he used a little bit of Megatron's vintage head and chest, but that is really not so much the case in this figure. As you can see, that this is all new tooled, at least the head and the chest. And they added little details such as the scar that you guys will remember from the comic. He also has the comic book shading, and he has these tiny gold dots that you guys see right there, especially under the light, which looks great. The head sculpt has the two pieces on the mouth there. It looks like 3 holes, basically the mouth, so he's got that detail as well. And I guess you could almost look like the sides do look a little bit like Megatron, but not really. The nose and the eyes look very good. Very happy with how that came out. And here's a look at the back. The articulation is also standard for the line. In his case, he includes a ball-jointed head, swivel hinged shoulders, or excuse me, swivel shoulders, but there's also a hinge joint right here. Swivel biceps, double hinged elbows, swivel waist, swivel hinged hips, swivel thighs, hinged knees in the back, and the ankles do move like this, but I don't know, call that a point of articulation or not. Here I went ahead and applied all of his accessories, including 2 tank treads, which goes on the sides of the legs there. He also includes a blaster and a shield. The blaster or cannon can be placed on his forearm there, plugged in right into the port, or placed in his hand. You can also plug it right into the shield, which happens to be top of the tank in vehicle mode. And here is a look at the other side. Here is a comparison with the War for Cybertron Siege Reflector figure that he is a retool from. You see that the arms, the legs, the hips are reuse. However, the torso is retool, and the only real major difference is the front there, as well as a brand new head sculpt. Here is a look at the back of the figure. Here is a side-by-side comparison of both figures. I believe that Flame is a Voyager class figure, so he's going to be larger, and Xaaron is a deluxe class. Here is another pose. Here is a comparison with Studio Series Optimus Prime and Hot Rod. Here is a look at Flame's vehicle mode. This is some kind of alien looking tank, and I think the design wise it looks really good. The only problem I have with it is the tank treads there, which point downwards. They really should be flat on the ground, just like a traditional tank. But that's the only thing that really bothers me about this vehicle mode. Other than that, looks really good. The colors and everything work really good with it, and considering that this is a pretty obscure character, I for one am thrilled to have him as part of the Transformers line. Here is a look at Emirate Xaaron's vehicle mode. This is some kind of alien looking tank, and another good job. Pretty good likeness to the comic. I really like how this came out. The only issue I have with this is that the robot legs, you can see that on the side there, which kind of looks weird, but it is what it is. Here is look at all sides and everything. Unlike Flame, the tank trends are pointing down, so it actually looks like a real tank, which looks good. And the blaster or cannon can swivel like this. That's not the option with Flame. Here's a look at all sides and everything. One more tidbit about Emirate Xaaron is that you can fold him up in a box to create kind of like a camera mode. Since he does use parts from Reflector, you can transform him basically into a box. So that's pretty cool. Overall, these are great figures. I highly recommend you guys pick them up. Thank you again, the site sponsor Entertainment Earth, for sending this set along for review. It's greatly appreciated. Please use our links before you shop. 10% off any in-stock item and free shipping on U.S. orders of $79 plus. I am Anthony Scott. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more news and reviews.